Hello everyone, welcome to Dnyanadeep Academy. This is our geography optional session for some advanced topics, and we are trying to understand what do we mean when we say value addition in geography optional. Now, term value addition can simply be applied to host of the subject, be it general studies or any other optional. So, in context of optional, we will first understand what exactly do we mean by advanced issues or value addition in geography optional, and then we will move on to our topic. So one by one we will take up all those topics and we'll try to understand what we are supposed to do in those respective topics. Now why we need to have value addition, first understand that. So whenever we go for the preparation of optional, that preparation has to go in layers. Okay, so when I say layers, first and foremost you will be preparing something called as basics, right? So whatever standard reference material, let us say when it comes to geography optional, all of us would refer to some basic books such as Savindra Singh, or for geography of India we refer to Majid Hussain. Okay, and then there will be multiple other sources also. Now what happens is all these books will give you a basic understanding of what this particular optional subject is all about. Other than that, you are also supposed to follow through the topics which are given in your geography optional syllabus or any optional syllabus for that matter. Now once you are done with these topics and you have properly covered these books, I am assuming that you are prepared with the foundation or you are prepared with the basics of this particular optional. Now once you are prepared, there are more or less 80 or 90% of the questions you will be able to crack. There still will be some new questions which you will not be able to cover through these traditional sources, right? So whenever we are talking about that this is the advanced course or value addition course, what we are doing, we are going beyond traditional resources. Fine, you will have to do something little extra, and that is how you are going to add one more layer or some more content in your answers or in your subject. Fine, so that is how you are going to approach whenever we talk about this approach of advanced preparation or value addition in preparation. Now this advanced preparation can be done in two ways. Let us understand what these two ways we need to highlight. First, you can increase depth of each topic. Whatever topics you have already read from the syllabus or from the particular material, you will have to increase the depth of it. Why we are supposed to increase the depth of it? So there are many chances that there will be some questions on micro topic of that particular syllabus, and then you should be having some sufficient material for that matter. Let us take one example. There was one question on deep ecology. This year itself, from environmental geography, there was a question of deep ecology. Now deep ecology is approach of environmental conservation, and when we go for environmental conservation approaches, there are multiple approaches, and in that one approach we refer to that there is something called as deep ecology. But once you are given a particular task that you are supposed to write 100 words or 150 words on deep ecology itself, and in that particular case you might need some depth, right? So you will have to do these micro topics slightly well. Other than you will also have to explore some new topics, right? And when we go for this particular approach, I'll say that you are preparing horizontally, right? So whenever you come across a new concept or a new question in your question paper, just go through all the past papers. You will find that whatever standard sources you have covered, they will be targeting 80% of the content. Rest of the 20% is horizontal value addition or horizontal preparation you will have to expand. And this horizontal preparation will give you boost of 20%, right? Now there are many opinions. Do we really need to go in this particular direction, or is it sufficient to score or cover 80% of the ground? So whatever be the opinions in the faculty group or whatever whosoever you are following, I'll just share you my opinion. I'll tell you why I think that this particular value addition is required. If you look at the current marks which are scored in most of the optional, So they right now are scoring somewhere around 280. Sometimes some of the optional will be best scoring at 290. So most of the optionals are at best scoring 280 or 290. Now, when I have to go to the range of 300 or 310, I will have to do something additional. And when it comes to geography optional, there is a possibility of going up to 320 or even 330 in some cases. There are candidates who have scored 324 or 327 in geography optional because there is a space for that particular score. And when you are able to score this particular number, once you are also prepared with rest of the 20% of the paper. So if I have to score somewhere around 330 or so, best of the score, I will say we should also do this horizontal value addition. So either you will go in depth, whatever topics have you prepared, prepare them well, prepare them in depth, and then in value addition also add some new topics. Now whatever discussion we are doing here, I'm mostly restricting my discussion to the static topics. Fine, I'm yet not concerned about what I am supposed to do with answer writing or what I am supposed to do with current affairs. So whatever static material is there, you will have to first figure out that you are increasing depth of whatever have you read, and then you will also have to add some new topics. Now from where you are going to add new topics? So best sources, analyze PYQs, understand in what direction UPSC is trying to go, and with some trial and error you can very well understand what new micro topics or new topics needs to be prepared. Also, when it comes to increasing depth, I'm not suggesting that each and every single topic should be attained in depth or you should go in depth of each and every single topic. That is not required. You will again have to study PYQs, and with the help of PYQs you will have to find which are those topics where you also need to be very thorough with micro topics of that particular topic, right? So this is again it will require some wisdom, it will require some experience. You will have to study syllabus well. You must have your basics very well. If you do not have basics, if you are not prepared basics at all, you do not target this particular activity. Whatever value addition or advanced preparation you do is only after you are completed with basic preparation. Fine. So that is about what content you need to add. Other than that, there is one more part of value addition, that will be answer writing. Now when I say there can be value addition of answer writing also, what do I mean? So whatever static material or static preparation I have already done, I can write answers based on that. Fine. And most of the crowd or most of the candidates are going to write their answers somewhere around this particular static part. Now when we do value addition in answer writing, we will try to introduce new approaches. We will try to understand how there are various ways, various methods or various approaches with which answers can be written. We will also try to introduce current affairs for those particular approaches or those particular questions or topics, right? So with this particular part or particular exercise, you will also have some value addition in your answer writing. So whenever I'm saying advanced preparation or value addition, I'm targeting these three dimensions. First dimension, I will be increasing depth of whatever micro topics I have read already. Second dimension, I will go through PYQ, identify which are the uncovered areas and will try to include those uncovered areas in my preparation. And value addition part number 3 will be improving your answer, right? Changing approach of your answers. At the same time, whatever current affairs or contemporary affairs or even interlinking of topics, so on and so forth, can be done in answer writing part. So these are the targets which we are going forward to for upcoming UPSC 2024 examination. Now once we are understanding what kind of value addition we are going to do here onwards, we also need to have a micro level approach for each and every single topic from the syllabus. And for this micro level approach, I will once again go back to PYQ, study them, analyze them, and I will also think what kind of answers were expected on that particular question. Unless and until you think about answers, you will not be able to achieve optimum results with value addition, because you really do not know what was expected in answer. And if you don't know, you will never add that particular thing to your notes. So fundamental approach is, so whenever we are going to write or do this value addition, first thing I will do, I will go to PYQs. Then in PYQs, I will make structures. I will find what content can be fit in this particular part. And once I have figured out what content is missing, or what part of structure is missing, what diagram or what value addition is missing, then I will go for value addition. Okay, if you directly go for value addition of a particular topic, you might have hit and miss particular preparation. But if you go in with this particular way, a structured way, you will have a very good value addition of your optional subject. This can be applied to all of the optional subject, but here in depth we will discuss what we need to do when it comes to geography optional. Now one by one we will talk about various topics in the syllabus and what kind of value addition these particular topics are expecting. Now let's focus on paper 1, section A. In paper 1, section A, I have a topic called as physical geography. In physical geography, there is first topic that will be geomorphology. Now, if you go to PYQs of geomorphology, there are some conventional sources which are covered in this particular part, but most of the bouncer questions which are coming in last few years, they are coming from geomorphology section. And in this geomorphology section, I will have study of PYQ, identify areas. These areas which are very peculiar, there are certain hints which have already been dropped by UPSC in what area UPSC is trying to focus or what depth UPSC is trying to achieve. So I will identify that and I will add static material to my preparation. Fine. Here you will have to go vertically, you will have to go deep, as well as you will have to go horizontally. You will have to identify new micro topics or new topics also. Okay, so that is something we are supposed to do when it comes to geomorphology. Do we need to have something from current affairs? No. When it comes to geomorphology, nothing much can be added from current affairs as such, but there is one topic which will trouble you and which needs a special attention when you are doing this value addition. This topic is applied geomorphology. Now what happened? In most of our preparation, we tend to ignore applied geomorphology because this is the last topic in the syllabus of geomorphology. And if I go to some papers back to 2012 or 2010 or even prior to that, I do not find much of emphasis given to applied geomorphology. And then in that particular case, what happens is we have largely ignored this particular part, and in last few years some of the questions have directly been asked from applied geomorphology. So whenever you are doing PYQ analysis, identify which particular area was neglected or was not given due attention by UPSC. Now what happens if a particular area was not given due attention by UPSC? So first time UPSC will ask whatever question will be very basic, right? So they will be doable. They do not require a lot of depth in their answers also or even in preparation, right? So identify these kind of areas and then have a very brief preparation or a basic preparation around those particular topics. So I'll have such kind of preparation around applied geomorphology, though some of the questions have been asked. But again, even in future, whatever questions are asked on geomorphology, they are not going to be very technical in nature, or they are not going to be very deep in applied geomorphology, right? So what my approach will be in applied geomorphology, I will try to understand the nature of this particular topic, the utility of this particular topic, and accordingly I'll Google these particular terms and find new content and find new depth around this particular part. So when it comes to geomorphology, most of our preparation is definitely going to be static. Let's move to next part. Next part is climatology. Now when it comes to climatology, if I look at previous year question, again what I find that there are most of the issues which are static. But let's go back to, I guess, 2020. In 2020 I had one question that is Halloween storm, which is coming from climatology, and this is typically a current affairs based question. So whenever you are doing value addition for climatology, there is nothing much static you can add. There are no new static topics you have to add. Look at the PYQs, nothing much has been asked. But what happens, there are many new climatological phenomena occurring all across the globes. Now just understand one thing, the largest or the buzzing word right now is climate change. Fine. And this is somewhere you have a hint, whatever you are supposed to prepare in climatology, if I have to add new topics, I have to go for horizontal breadth, so I will go for climate change or around the topics which can be added to climatology. So add such topics, add such terminologies, have a follow up of various phenomena which are occurring all across the globe, and most of these current affairs based question will come out of this particular phenomena or something related to this. Now there is next part also. Even if most of the issues are static, but since climate is very dynamic, I can add some current affairs based points in my answer, right? So when it comes to geomorphology, you do not have much of a scope to add current affairs. But when I go forward to climatology, I definitely have some or the other scope to introduce current affairs. So whenever I am going for value addition of climatology, I will definitely have this particular approach and try to introduce current affairs as and when required. Let's move on to next part, oceanography. Now when it comes to oceanography, again most of the part is static. The nature of most of the content is static. Questions, if I go through PYQs, most of the questions are static, barring a few questions, I would say. In 2014, there was a question around, I guess, Charles Wilkins report, right? And that particular report pertained to coral bleaching. And again, this particular topic goes back to linking with climate change. So whatever climate change is occurring is definitely affecting oceans, and whatever new phenomena are occurring or happening with oceans, I will be focusing on that particular part. Let's say there will be a case of marine heat waves in oceans. The temperature of global oceans is also increasing, and it is going to result into some of the repercussions. So I'll definitely prepare that particular part. So whatever impact of climate we find on ocean, go through this issue. Other than that, I will go forward to some issues of corals. Fine, because most of the current affairs which is getting added to oceanography is most of the time around corals. So whatever new phenomena or whatever new report is coming in terms of corals, do prepare that particular part well, because there will be some or the other question, or at least you will have some or the other content to write in your answer. So this is again very similar to that of oceanography. In climatology. In climatology, we had to prepare new issues from current affairs. At the same time, we also have to add these current affairs points in our answers. Fine. So that was about climate oceanography. Let's move on to next part, that is biogeography. Now when it comes to biogeography, again this is fairly static, right? Address all the issues in static, and you will be in a position to answer this particular part. So I do not think much of a preparation is needed in this particular area, but still, if you want to add contemporary approach to some of the issues, add content to the issue of soil. To be very specific, you can add content to soil degradation, whatever phenomena we are witnessing, or whatever reports which are coming in the area of soil degradation, that can be added. So we can expect a direct question on soil degradation and associated areas. At the same time, we can use this particular content in our answer. So answers will also be get enriched, as well as dimensions or additional dimensions are also getting covered in this particular area. Then we have next part, environmental geography. Now when it comes to environmental geography, most of environmental geography is static, or other than static, you will have some GS type questions. Okay, So there are some contemporary questions, GS type questions. So what you need to improve on this particular part, you will need to improve on answer writing approach. So whatever you study in GS, bring that content and try to fit that content as geography optional answers, right? So you can follow our daily answer writing series, and in that daily answer writing series, time and again we are taking all the questions, and with the help of those questions we are trying to understand what answers should be looking like. Fine. So that is about environmental geography. Moving next, let's move to section B. In section B, I have first topic, that is perspectives, and in perspective most of the part is static, right? So no need of value addition. Already perspective issue is very cumbersome. Fine. So if you go for further value addition in perspective, what will happen? So there will be a lot of jumbling, and I do not think ki return on investment for perspectives is that high. So that is why I'll not be suggesting any value addition when it comes to the issue of perspective. Let's move on to the next point, economic geography. And again, when it comes to economic geography, current affairs based value addition can be done. I do not need to do any value addition for static topics. Most of the topics, they are very well covered in standard resources themselves or whatever notes you are following. But what I can add contemporary trends in economic geography, what kind of trade pattern is emerging, what kind of industries are shifting from one region to another region, what are the causes of that particular part, so on and so forth. So these kind of issues are continually emerging in newspaper if you follow it rigorously, or whatever you do it for general studies. Even if you are doing it for general studies, simply you can take all the current affairs in geography and just give it the shape of geography optional, right? So most of the issues are contemporary trends. That is something I'm going to target here. Third, beyond economic geography, I'll go for population and settlement. Again, in population and settlement, I'll do PYQ well. With PYQ, I'm mostly done with static part. I'm not going to add anything in static part. In current affairs based value addition, I will just add whatever is happening in contemporary world or whatever current affairs I can add, right? So whatever current affairs is there, then you can also have some case studies in this particular area. So keep adding case studies and current affairs as and when possible. Further, we will go for regional geography, okay? And in regional planning, this is mostly static. You do not need any value addition for static part, and there is absolutely nothing you are supposed to add from contemporary issues. Just do some answer writing, change your approach of answer writing. You will find that most of the answers which you are writing for regional geography, they are not as per the requirement of geography optional. Fine. So some kind of tweaking is required when it comes to writing answers of regional geography, and that helps most of the time. You do not need to add much of a material or much of a content in this particular area. Moving on, we have models and theories. Again, most of the models and theories is a static part, okay? So do not add anything or any new concept in here. Now what value addition I am expecting when it comes to models and theories, I will try to find if all these models and theories are relevant even today, right? So build your content around that. If a particular model is given, is it relevant today or is it not relevant? If it is relevant today, why it is relevant? If it is not relevant, why it is not relevant? That is something I'm going to identify. Fine. Other than that, you are going to identify the relevance in global context as well as in Indian context. Fine. Find a particular model being relevant to India also. So we have to find temporal relevance as well as relevance specific to the world conditions as well as conditions in India, right? So that is something I have to do for models and theories. Now that is about paper 1. So let's move on to paper 2. In paper 2, first and foremost, I have physical settings, and physical settings is again highly static part. So there is nothing much I can add in this particular area. After physical settings, let's move on to second part, that is resources. In resources, again most of the issues are static, but I can have some contemporary resources, right? Most of the question are pertaining, let us say, to the resources such as water, or there can be some critical minerals which are in news. So I will add contemporary issues or current affairs based value addition in resources from these particular topics. Okay, so whatever is surfacing in news, add that particular topic in your resources. Moving on, I have agriculture. In agriculture, again static part is there, but if I look at PYQ have a scope to introduce current affairs. A good amount of current affairs can be introduced in agriculture. So whatever concepts you have prepared, that is fine, but try to identify, because every here and there you will find some of the other phenomena occurring in the area of agriculture. So most of the content can be brought from current affairs, and that can be molded to look it like geography optional answer, and that is how your agriculture answers are going to be enriched. Fine. Further, let's move on to the fourth topic, that is industry. Again, most of the industry is static, but whatever contemporary shift is happening, identify that particular contemporary shift. Which regions are emerging as industrial regions? Which industries are emerging as leading industries? Identify those contemporary shifts and bring that particular content to your static notes, right? So combination of these two ideas will give you good marks in this particular question. Further, I have trade, transport and communication. Whatever schemes surface in this area, that will be your value addition. I don't think there is much of an emphasis given to static part, right? I personally do not choose to give a lot of time to static part of trade, transport and communication. Rather, I focus on to new schemes in this particular area, new trade patterns which are emerging in this particular area. So if you have static notes, or even if you do not have static note, there is already a mental construct we have in our mind regarding this particular topic. So it does not require a proper static note, but what it requires a good hold on whatever is happening in contemporary world and relate that particular topic to core ideas of geography. Fine. So if it comes to industries, resources or even this trade and transport, this can be linked with paper 1. So in the end, I'll tell you what I'm supposed to do when it comes to enrichment of answers in paper 2. So I'll leave that particular point for then. Let's move on to sixth point. Again, sixth point is cultural settings, and in cultural settings, most of the part is static except for demographic shift or some demographic issues, or at best case there can be something or the else asked from health, right? So whatever demographic shift is happening, add that particular contemporary affairs to your cultural notes, and if possible add health also. Rest of the cultural settings is static in nature. Then we have settlement geography of India or settlements in India, and settlement has a fair bit of static content, but here again whatever you are writing in GS, whatever current affairs you are preparing in GS, whatever schemes we have for urban development in India, or whatever challenges or issues we have surfacing in current affairs for urban development or urban areas of India, I'll bring that particular part to my settlement issues, right? So that is how I'm going to do value addition in this particular area. Now again, I have regional geography of India, regional planning and development, and in this particular part most of the issues are static, right? It is just कि you should be having good hold of all the issues which are discussed in regional planning and development, and that will solve most of your purpose. I do not personally think कि I need to go for some contemporary affairs or current affairs approach. When it comes to number 9, political geography, so whatever you have prepared in this particular area, that is mostly static, and whatever is happening in current affairs, you can bring that anyway to this particular part. And similarly for contemporary issues also, prepare it once and add current affairs continually to that. That will solve most of your problems. Fine. So that is how we have to add content or add material when it comes to paper 2 of geography. So by and large what I learn here when it comes to paper 2, in paper 2 I have nothing to add from static, right? You do not have to add anything from static. Whatever you are adding in paper 2, that will be either from contemporary affairs or either from current affairs, which you are anyway preparing for GS. Other than that, let us understand answer writing or answer enrichment. Whatever answer enrichment you are supposed to do for paper 2, this needs to be a combination of paper 1 theory, right, paper 2 content and current affairs content. So these are the best case scenario. Okay, so whatever answer writing approach you are supposed to take for paper 2, answer writing enrichment or answer writing value addition, what your approach should be. Paper 1 theory needs to be introduced in paper 2. Paper 2 content obviously has to be written, but then there is additional layer that will be of current affairs. If you make an amalgamation of these particular topics or this particular content, there is more likelihood you will get marks somewhere 150 to 160, right? So that is the key in scoring paper 2. When it comes to paper 1, paper 1 can be scored with the help of improvement in quality of answer. So I do not have to bring in a lot of current affairs, or I do not have to bring in a lot of paper 1 in paper 2. Fine. What I need in paper 1 is specific answers. You should be as specific as possible, as crystal clear as possible, right? So you'll have to use illustrations, you will have to use diagrams, wherever possible give case studies, right? And with this approach you can very well attempt paper 1 and score around 140 or 150 in paper 1. So here remember that paper 2 is more scoreable as compared to paper 1, because in paper 1 you will need to go in depth for content increase, but that is not the case when it comes to paper 2. Paper 2 needs just a slight change in approach, and that will help you scale paper 2 as well. Fine. So that is introductory session where we are talking about what kind of value addition we are supposed to do when it comes to geography optional. So in coming few days we will be releasing one lecture after another, and in those lectures we will take one by one all these topics and we will try to do the kind of value addition which is required for UPSC 2024. Thank you everyone. See you in next lecture.